Any reaction to Leader Thune, you seeing the bill without adding amendments or changing it?
I'm deeply disappointed in this outcome.
Yeah, that's pretty clear that he's deeply disappointed in the outcome, which again is so weird because he voted for the Epstein files to be released. And he's only doing the bidding of Donald Trump, who really wants transparency. And so the House passed it, and then the Senate passed it like that. And it's weird that they would be disappointed because seemingly they got everything that they wanted in their quest to take down those damn corrupt Democrats who are hiding the Epstein thing. But no, it's not actually working out for Mike Johnson. And he doesn't like not only the result, but the way that they got there. It isn't just that the Epstein files could now be released. It's that this discharge petition from Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna is the way that we got to that point. And it is, admittedly, it was an unlikely result. We knew from the very beginning, most discharge petitions do not actually succeed. But it's actually even more rare than you might think as this chart gets across. In the last roughly 90 years, 673 discharge petitions have been filed in the House. Only 42 have gotten the signatures necessary to be voted on. So that already is very, very rare. Of those, 21 were passed by the House, and only 7 ended up actually being signed into law. Just about 1% of those over the past 90 years have actually been signed into law. So Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna actually made history. And Johnson does not like that, and he wants to do something about it. And so his plan is, at least according to what he said to Axios on Wednesday night, he thinks that discharge petitions have become too common and said he would consider changing House rules to make them harder to obtain. Steve Scalise, the House Majority Leader, said yesterday, "I'd like to see a higher threshold for a lot of these motions, privilege motions, discharge petitions." Again, it's not common. I mean, a couple have passed recently, which is, that's relatively common historically. But it only seems like a lot because the House is doing so little otherwise. If the House was regularly passing legislation, it wouldn't really seem like a big deal. Or I don't know, maybe if House leadership wasn't standing against things that evidently there is majority support for, you wouldn't need the discharge petitions in the first place. If Mike Johnson had not been trying to cover up the Epstein files, this wouldn't have been a discharge petition, it would have been a piece of legislation. And so who really is to blame for this weird situation we've ended up in? Is it Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, or is it Mike Johnson for siding with Donald Trump in his quest to stop the truth from ever coming out about Jeffrey Epstein? And so I don't know, Brett, if they're gonna end up raising the threshold. I do know that they're gonna have one more, I guess, little prodding that might lead to it, because there's a 4th discharge petition that this week hit the 218 signature threshold. That is something that would restore union rights for thousands of federal workers. That's the sort of thing that these have been around. You had the Epstein files, you have the union rights for federal workers, tax relief to victims of natural disasters, and a bill to increase social security payments to some recipients. So not only do these things seem perhaps like common sense, but again, they had majority support in the House. Why is Mike Johnson standing against all these things that have bipartisan majority support?
He told us because he thinks people will get in trouble over what happened as revealed by the Epstein files. Like, he said it. He's like, this has the potential to ruin the careers of people. Now he adds ruin careers of people who are just in it because, one time they chilled out with him while waiting for, their luggage to be brought by the bellhop. And then that's what he wants you to think the Epstein files are full of. People who just are in there for no damn reason. But the fact is that Trump ran on this stuff. The manosphere is like, yes, that is what we are here for. We want to use the R word and we want to see the Epstein files. We want freedom of speech and the Epstein files. And Trump basically has said, you guys were serious about that? I was just saying it to get elected. Now that I'm here, now he's doing stuff that people hate. Like Speaker Johnson is making it harder. His response is not to do more of what the American people like. His response is to make it harder for us to do what the American people like. And shocker, American people don't like that. And that is a classic Republican move. Rather than have better policies, and let's just change the rules. So it's harder for us to do the will of the people as like kind of promised in the Constitution and implicit in like, the social contract.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really works both ways. So he wants to make these discharge petitions less likely or a little bit harder to get done because, hey, look, it was used to stop him and Trump from getting what they want. But also when Trump was pushing them to get rid of the filibuster, they didn't get rid of it because, again, it's a very useful tool to stop things from happening. I mean, in theory, it would grant them more power. And so you'd think they'd want it. I mean, they do like more power, but apparently the only thing they want more than more power is an excuse to not do things that are wildly popular. And it's not just the Republicans that I'm talking about there.
Between this and his war on porn, Speaker Johnson is way against discharge.
Ugh.
He's so against discharge. I thought just the way he dresses and looks and does his hair and talks was enough of a declaration against discharge. But he's taking it a little too far, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's not the only one.